Go.
Now, as Ryan, Trenton, and Sean grab your attention towards the world of sports, food, and entertainment, and away from the things that are probably more important, we apologize for nothing and anything that may be spoken, learned, or forgotten today. This is the Real Tree Shaker Show. Well, hello and welcome to the Real Tree Shaker Show. Was that too loud? I mean, because I got to get used to this intro thing.
No, I can hear
But
you
I
just
don't know.
fine.
Just fine. All right. Excellent. Well, welcome, everybody. We're back. It's been a while, but Trenton, you never know what could happen when in Rome.
That's right.
You
So
know,
as a
so
bar.
sometimes things happen. Yeah, that's right. So right now it is Trenton and Sean. Ryan is dealing with the stinging of his daughter's hand from a jerkish wasp that ruined her day. But anyways, hopefully Ryan will be joining us later today. But Trenton, let's just get right to it, man. Big news coming from the sports world as the world's greatest umpire, Angel Hernandez, has announced his retirement. What are your
Yeah.
thoughts on that?
Thank God. Thank God.
About
He
time.
was terrible, man. Like it seemed like I don't know. All these years that he's called all those huge games, World Series games, championship games, all that stuff, But
Mm-hmm.
I just the guy just seemed like he just didn't know what he was doing half the time he was out there. So kind of nice to see a change of the guard. Get him on out of the. Well, they don't need any more mistakes in baseball, so just to kind of have him gone. That's kind of nice. I saw it was a buyout too, so I wonder if it was like if Major League kind of came or MLB kind of came at him and was just like, hey man, it's time to hang it up kind of thing. And
Right.
I wonder if they kind of pushed it down his throat a little bit, but
Yeah,
either
maybe,
way,
bumped up the pension a little bit more,
bumped up the pension a
Let's
little
just go
bit.
ahead and, yeah, we could just seats, a suite at the World Series or something.
Yeah.
Remember, he tried to sue Major League Baseball back in 2017 for, racial discrimination. He lost that case, but I don't know. He is the only umpire that is on social media with highlight reels on all his bad calls. And it's like you don't even have to go through his whole career to find all the clips. I mean, just put on the last couple of games, I guess.
Exactly. So I don't know, man. I think it's been time for him to be out of the league, and I'm glad he's done and gone. So
Yeah, I mean, I think he's like 62, so he's 30 years of service, 32 or something like that. So, yeah, I mean, I'm sure he's got a good pension, and the umpires, it's a union. So, I'm sure they have some kind of little structured deal. I don't know how all that union stuff. That's for another show, not on this one.
yeah, like you
But
got me on that.
okay, so that got me thinking. With all the sports that are going on right now, which is fantastic. What do you think the hardest sport to officiate is?
Ooh. Um, I guess hockey, since I have no idea about hockey, but I don't know. I'd probably have to say the NBA because of all the knick-knack stuff and the complaining and stuff that goes on. So, because I mean, sometimes
Every
I
play.
every play, so it's like I feel like that would be the toughest thing because I feel like no matter what you do, you're gonna miss how many calls and they're gonna be right up your alley about it. So, I would think that just again because everything's so ticky tacky. Even the NFL is ticky tacky at times, but like there's some obvious penalties and stuff like that. But the NBA is just kind of like, well, you can't even you can't make any contact at all. And so it's like, well, what's a foul, what isn't? So
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that would be the toughest one.
And
Even
then
though like
there's
seeing like I was
oh,
gonna
I
say
was
even
gonna sorry, I didn't
even
mean to interrupt.
no, I was
Go.
gonna say even though seeing like 100-mile-an-hour baseball coming in and trying to put that over a certain area, that would be tough to see. But yeah, I'd say the NBA.
Yeah, I think in NBA and NHL, I know a little bit about hockey, but they're skating and moving and have to watch that little black puck going 100 miles an hour, and it's just. But the NBA, they have, um, quote unquote, the regular season fouls, and then there's the playoff fouls, and it's like throughout these playoffs, you've seen the regular season fouls and then there's the playoff fouls. So then it's not being consistent. So, you're like you said, what is a foul? What isn't a foul? So,
Like what's considered a playoff foul then? Just making more
well, I mean,
contact, a little more roughhousing kind
yeah,
of thing.
a little more physical play. They
So
try
why not?
to keep it. I don't know.
Why wouldn't that just be like a whole like overall like thing? Like what the NBA like why would you not roughhouse in the regular season? But
Yeah, just get ready
um,
for play. I mean, because it's not like in football, okay, let's hit harder because it's the playoffs, it's
right.
baseball, not let's not throw harder. You're playing the same way throughout the year. So, I mean, yeah, I think, I think, we'll get to, I got some stats on the points per game, but they're down, because of the defense, and it's like, I don't know. It's wishy-washy, let's say that,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
like every game, it kinda seems like the home team's been getting a lot of the favorable calls, but alright, so officiating, we both agreed with NBA. What about play-by-play?
Oh, as far as
I
calling a
got
calling a game,
I gotta go
ooh
hockey
wee.
on that, man.
I would yeah, I because I mean
Easily.
because much like you just said in the segment before of like being able to see the little black puck going everywhere, it's like I would and plus of having to pronounce the names like the foreign names and things like that, like that would be
Yes.
I feel like that would be pretty
Yeah.
tricky there.
Yeah,
And
those are
plus
names that just not exactly roll off the tongue.
not easy. There's not
And
necessarily easy
not
to
and not yeah, and not like 4 or 5 letter names either. So
yeah. Karushka
right from
It's like
Schwellenbach.
if you don't know, it's like I wasn't sure if I should say bless you for sneezing or if you were actually calling that man's name. So
And it's like, where do you take a breath? But um
right.
I don't know. I rarely watch hockey, but um I used to love Mike Emmerich. He was fantastic as play by play. And they got some good ones on now, but a
I
couple
recognize I
former
recognize
guys.
the name. I just can't I guess I just can't quite hear
Oh,
the
he
voice.
was he was fantastic. Super, and when he made when someone scored, it was a really cool calling or whatever.
Hmm.
But
Yeah, I'm
all
definitely gonna
right.
check out some hockey tonight though. Why not?
Yeah, man. No, this has been a good series, Stars and Oilers.
Yeah.
So, but let's go Rangers. But anyways, T, on Monday, May 27th of this year, one of the biggest sporting events in the world took place. Can you tell me what it is?
Oh, 100%. It was the annual cheese rolling competition.
Yes! Yes! That's my little nugget that I told you I was going to have. The Cooper's Hill Cheese Rolling and Wake,
There it
which
is.
is held in Gloucester, England every year. It was first tracked back in 1826, but it's rumored to be over 600 years old. So, if anybody doesn't know, what happens is once a year during the spring break over in England, in Gloucester, they take a 7 to 9 pound wheel of double Gloucester cheese and wrap it up real tight, and then they take it and they roll it down a 200-foot hill, and
Mm-hmm.
then a bunch of willing patrons um, chase after
Who
that shit.
who trained for it? Who trained to go down that hill? They trained for the whole entire year to be able to do that. Some don't.
It's
Some go
incredible.
just straight willy nilly at it, but yeah, they train. Did you ever watch the Netflix documentary they did
Yeah,
on it?
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
great
hilarious.
stuff. Great stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy that wheel of cheese could reach up to 70 miles an hour. And
70
it's
miles
just
an
like,
hour.
yeah, it's unbelievable. I mean, these people are into it, like you said. I mean, it's like the Ironman competition. Don't even step, man, because
Hmm.
you can't even come close to this. It's hilarious because there's so many people that just eat it right at the beginning, and it's like, well, shit, I'm out. But I mean, there's determined somersaults and cartwheels, and you tuck and roll. I mean, there's just I mean, do you fall like Chris Farley down in Black Sheep trying to deliver the pamphlet? I mean, how do you do that?
Little root, little root. I mean, it's nuts, man. I've seen it for I'd catch it, I guess, for years, just catching highlights or hearing about it and stuff, and just always kind of looking at it like, what in the world is going on? And then finally get like a in-depth look at it and see how it all goes. It's like, wow, man, it's great. That's absolutely great.
I
I
know.
want. Too bad they didn't. Too bad they didn't show that. Like, should I wasn't on like ESPN or something like that.
Yeah, put it on the Ocho. What's up with that, man?
It might have been.
So
It
it could
might have
have
been,
been,
or ESPN
or the
Plus or something. But yeah, that's one of those things that should be on for like prime TV. We don't
yeah,
need
because
let's
why
we don't
not?
need we don't
It's
need
like,
Stephen A. On the first day of the morning every single morning. We don't have to listen to all that.
I
Like
mean, how
put on
cool
some
would
cheese
that
rolls.
be? Yeah, man. Like they make a big deal out of the Nathan's hot dog eating contest,
Right.
and hats off to Kobayashi, by the way, who officially retired due to health concerns. Hmm.
Shocker.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a huge event, and people
Must have been
come from
something he
all over
ate.
the world. Yeah, so like you said, they train for this. Um, there have been no reported deaths in this competition. And they have multiple races. Um, but the last year's winner, she was American, Abby Lampe. But did you know she passed the finish line unconscious as she won?
Oh, well, I mean, I'm not. I'm most people would probably be shocked, I guess, if you don't know about this thing, but I'm not. Like, I mean, I would be unconscious the first 5 feet of going down that thing.
I mean, could
Something
you imagine being her? Like, you make it. I mean, how do you finish? Do you go like 198 feet and then fall down and eat it, and then your momentum just takes you across? Or, I mean, do your face go straight into the chalk?
there's a possibility that all of that could have happened.
I mean, I mean, they go through all this, and the only thing you get for winning this shit is you get the wheel of cheese.
You get the wheel
So
and a
it's like,
trophy. Did you not get a trophy? I thought you got a
I
trophy.
don't even know, man. I guess you get English recognition. I don't know,
Man,
but
wow. Not even a
uh,
T-shirt. It's not
I would
even.
hope so. I survived the wheel.
Yeah, I survived the hill.
There you go. That's better.
Something though. I mean, something
Ah,
though. Man, wow.
I read that in 1982, 4 adults and 4 children were struck by lightning as a sudden thunderstorm occurred. So they had to delay the race, but they resumed it later. So
Wait, they got struck by lightning on the hill?
yeah,
Oh wow.
yeah. So
Man, imagine that
unbelievable.
running down a hill. You're already banged up and bruised, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you get struck by lightning. Like you're not already hurt and dinged up enough. Man,
Yeah, like don't hit the cheese wheel. Don't melt it because then you're really screwed on your prize. But I
Oh
just thought
wow.
I'm so glad you knew about that. Like I was hoping, because I threw you guys off with the Kentucky Derby and the dog show, a little while
I think
back, but
the dog show more than the Kentucky Derby, just because I don't know, that just kind of came out of left field. So not like I've never like peeked the dog show or something like that, but uh, not something that's going to be on my agenda. That's for sure.
oh my gosh, that was so funny. That was awesome. I'm so glad that you knew about that. And I bet you, Brian knew about it. And I knew
Hmm.
I was reading all this stuff and I wanted to chat with you guys about it, but I was like, no, man, I want to save this for the podcast to throw them off. So
I wonder if he would know about it. I bet he would though. I'd be willing to bet he would.
Ryan is a food aficionado, so I think he would. Ryan's always at like a festival on every weekend eating just unlimitless tacos and barbecue, and it's like, man, here I am with another frozen pizza.
Hey man, home run in. Can't be mad at home run in.
Gotta love it. Man, that would be an incredible sponsor. Just pay us in pizza. Well, kind of. Maybe throw in
Yeah.
a little cash. But, anyways, let's shift gears, T, and let's get to the main thing that's going on right now, and it is the NBA playoffs. We are in the conference finals. The Celtics are at home. They could play golf, but the Pacers are being sent down to Galveston to go swim in the Galveston water with all the other teams that have gone home. The T-Wolves have avoided making NBA history, as if they had lost last night to the Mavs, it would have been the first time since the merger in 70-71 that both conference finals were a sweep. So we avoided that. Now all the
Since when?
T-Wolves got to do. What's that?
Since what year?
1970, 1971, since the
Wow.
merger. So that's crazy. That's never happened. But the T-Wolves did stave off elimination, but they only have to beat a stat that's pretty impressive, as teams up 3-0 are 155 and 0 when up 3-0. So let's go quickly to the Pacers Celtics. What do you think? Do you think that Boston was saving it? Because it felt like they should have blown out Indy, especially the last couple games without Halliburton. You think they're taking it easy, or do you think they miss Porzingis that much? Or what do you think the key is for Boston and heading forward?
Um, I don't think. I think you're right. They should have dominated the games without Halliburton being in there. I feel that way. If 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 you're missing that big of a piece to the puzzle, especially with the Pacers, it's kind of like if Jalen Brunson wasn't in on the Knicks. Like
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's that big of a piece to not be in there, and I feel like they should have beat him down pretty good. I mean, the Pacers game run for their money, even though they lost, but um, I just feel like if the Boston's gonna win a championship, they should have put more or made more of a statement. And maybe missing Porzingis is a huge piece, even though the other guys that have stepped in with him being out are doing a pretty good job. I just don't. I mean, part of me kind of thinks that like Boston's not as good as that regular season record, uh, like makes them look. Like I think they're good. I think they're championship material, or have a right to be in the finals. But I don't know, man. I think they came out of a weaker conference, and uh, they don't look all impressive. Jalen Brunson, or I'm sorry, Jalen Brown does, but And Derek White, I mean, when he's a hustler, he's fun to watch play. But everyone else is kind of like, yeah, they're either off or like Tatum hasn't really been on or dominating. I mean, he's kind of just being sneaky, like get his points eventually or something. But um, I think they overall do miss Porzingis though. I mean, as much as he's not necessarily like the most dominant player or anything like that, where you're kind of scared of him, he's just a big weapon. And I mean, Horford stepped in and done a really good job. He's also almost 40 years old, so it's like, you know, kind of hard to kind of just keep, rely on him as much as they have. And but I don't know, they're suspect to me. Like I think either
It's
the Wolves or the Mavs can beat him. Basically, I wouldn't. I don't know. I wouldn't bet on Boston to win the championship. I just wouldn't.
yeah, I mean it's weird. They're a loaded team. Jalen Brown, yeah, has been really good. Because he's pissed because he didn't make any of the All NBA teams, and he did last year. But Tatum had a really good game 4. In that closeout, he was close to a triple double. But
That is true.
I
That is
don't know.
true.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just like Boston flew through the East. They haven't played really like a meaningful game since like March 14th or something like that. So they went through the East. They got a break, with all their playoff series when they were playing the Heat, and Jimmy Butler was out, and then
Donovan Mitchell,
who then Donovan Mitchell, yeah, he was out when they took care of the Cavs, and then here Halliburton, missing the last 2 games. But Indy had those games. It was like once that 2-minute mark hit for Indy, that's when they wouldn't make any shots, and then they would just
mhm,
start having stupid turnovers.
yep. And that
And
shows the youth of their team. It's
mm-hmm,
like, and that's something. I mean, maybe even if Halliburton had been in there, like in that situation, I mean, he turned the ball over in games 1 and 2 at
mm-hmm.
clutch or crunch time. So he could have easily made the mistake too, or made those mistakes as well. But I think I think what gets me is Boston shoots so many threes. I mean, they live and die by it, and so it's like, I mean, don't get me wrong, they make a lot of them, but what happens if you hit a slump and they're going to be off for 10 days or something like that, right? About 10 or 11 days or something like that. So,
Yeah, finals don't start till June 6th.
so is I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, to get rest is a good thing, but I think that also brings rust, and so I don't know. I don't know. I think they're worthy enough to be there. That's no doubt.
For
But
sure.
they don't scare me. That I mean, if I were the Mavs or the Wolves playing them, that wouldn't they
But
wouldn't
they
I wouldn't be
should.
scared.
That's the thing. Like,
They should, right? They should.
it's I don't yeah, I don't know. It's like I saw a clip where like you were saying with the threes, at one point they could have 5 3-point shooters, good 3-point shooters on the floor at one time, with
Yeah,
multiple lineups. And Drew Holiday, man, that he played great. That dude does not get enough credit, but that
I agree with that
Drew
too.
Holiday Drew Holiday could play on every single NBA team and adapt and just be that unsung hero. But it's weird. Like, do you know the ratings for the playoffs are down 15% this year from last year?
You said they're down.
Yeah, they're down 15%.
Wow. Hmm. I wonder why that is.
I don't know. I mean, because like they're in negotiations right now for a new TV deal, and I think they're going back to NBC. They're going to be available on Amazon. Um, the TNT show is got one more year, and then we won't have Chuck and Shaq and Ernie and Kenny anymore, which is dumb.
I
But
hear Barkley's trying to get his production to his studios or something like that to take it over, so
they
that way he can
should.
keep it going.
They should, man. It's so good. That
You
that
know what?
that
I
shows.
bet I bet part of it's LeBron not being in there in the playoffs,
Yep.
just
Well,
because
I
he's
think
like,
like not in it, or do you think it's like it's starting to trend away from LeBron? Like you got the new up
I
and
think
comers.
yeah, I think it's because of the up and comers for sure. I mean, the change is happening in front of us, so it's some people are probably still stuck in their ways with the Stephs and the LeBron. So since they're not in there, it's kind of like okay, and um, I feel like people just don't love Durant and Kyrie and company as much as say that LeBron and Steph are more popular guys, which are more of the trend, I guess you'd say. And so I think that might be part of it too, though. Just because
Yeah, it's
you have
up.
that whole California network basically probably not even paying attention.
Hmm.
But
Yeah, I mean, I think like 10 of the top 11 highest paid players aren't in the conference finals, or out. So only 3 of the top 12 points per game leaders are in the playoffs. So I think you're seeing a shifting. They threw all this attention on the next series we're going to talk about. T-Wolves Mavs up 3-0. Every game has been close. But all this like Ant-Man is the future of the NBA, like, I love me some Anthony Edwards and my T-Wolves, but man, it's like he's not Jordan. Stop talking about it. You can't compare him to Jordan. But Mavs jump up to a 3-0 lead team, and like we said last night, Timberwolves were able to hold on and get a clutch win on the road. But where do you think this series has been? What's the turning point or the dominating point of this series?
I think basically what we saw last night, just the fact that Ant-Man and Cat have had some shooting woes, and I don't know if I mean Ant-Man said he was tired after the first game, and so it's kind of like has he been taking it easy over the last? I mean, I don't know, but last night he seemed to have all his energy back, and like Cat found his rhythm in the second half, and I think that's been most of the turning point to it. I mean, with your two best players not playing, I guess up to par or even being elite. I mean, you got Doncic and you got Kyrie on the other side, and you got I mean, the Mavs are playing pretty good ball, and
Absolutely.
so it's if you just feel like if these guys aren't necessarily right that night or those nights, then the Mavs are going to do exactly what they did. And Mavs are missing a key piece last night in Lively after
Hmm.
taking a knee to the Yahoo. Woo, oh woo,
Yeah, he
woo
got the
wee.
double whammy just on separate
He got the
plays.
same knee, man. Both
Yeah,
heads.
man, I'm okay.
Yeah. No, I'm not. Back of my head is killing me now.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Yeah, they
clearly
even
Lively's a
showed him
good.
last night during the game, like stretching his neck. He was
I
still
saw
feeling
that.
it.
I saw that. But yeah, even I mean, he's a big piece for him, or he's been a big piece for him, and so I think just the combination of, like I said, with Ant and Cat, if they can get to playing like they were against the Nuggets, then I think you get a little bit more, not some more competition, but I think you just kind of, I think the favor starts to come toward the T Wolves a little bit more. But unfortunately, they got to win four in a row, and so it's just like, well, I mean, they got to play like four really good games. Can't I mean
Hmm.
they can't be so, and maybe that's what they need. They're young, they don't know any better, and as much as like maybe other maybe there's pressure on other people and stuff. I don't think there's pressure on the T Wolves. Like even if they lose this series, they shouldn't lower their head. Like they've done
No,
an incredible job, and the
I'll
future's
tell you
very
that
very bright there.
absolutely. Yes, that's what I was about to say. This season is a success. And you got your foundation. Good good coaching staff. Good I don't know about the ownership with the whole switching of hands to A-Rod and his group, or
Yeah,
as you
I don't
guys
know
like to
about
call it.
a fraud.
Hey,
Yeah,
hey man, he's a good loyal fan. I'll give him that. Like, he's into the games and he's at every game. So, um, I give him props to that. So, but we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, T Wolves have had the lead at the 5 minute mark in all 4 games. So, like, this every game has been back and forth. Like, you'll have a couple big runs, but then you get a lot of the 7-2, 8-3 runs, to where the game
Right.
just goes back and forth. And yeah, like you said, Kyrie and Luca are just, I mean, Luca is just hitting unbelievable jump shots. And how Kyrie Irving gets those left-handed layups to go, I mean, it's just like, how you can't practice that, man. Do you? Are you doing
I
1,500 layups like Carl Anthony Towns said he shoots that many
get out of here. He
after
didn't shoot no
every day?
1,500
He
shots.
he said he said after game 3 when he was 0 for 8 from 3-point range that he shoots 1,500 shots a day.
Yeah, I heard him say it. I mean, maybe. Maybe. That's just maybe I don't maybe that's part of it. Maybe that's why he's in that slump. He's tired. He was tired of shooting all
Yeah.
1,500 shots a day.
Yeah,
I
and
guess that
then
could be that could be layups. You could be standing in the basket and shooting a ball into the hoop too. And it's
yeah,
like
whatever.
considered a
He's
shot,
playing NBA 2K and putting it on simulation.
but
Letting computer do it. But no, and then last night he hits 4 for 4 in the second half and just looks
yeah,
unbelievable. So I mean, that's just been how he has been through his whole career. Like, the guy is super talented and I want him to stay. I don't know if he'll be there next year, but we'll
right.
talk about that, in the off season. But he's so good. But like you said, when Ant and Cat are on the same page, like, they can compete with Luca and Kyrie. And I think the T Wolves, minus throwing Rudy Gobert, is the worst hands of any big man I've ever seen.
Yeah,
He
he's just there
just
for
can't catch
defense.
anything.
He's just there for defense. I mean, I,
And he's
I
getting
didn't.
torched on defense.
He has been actually. I didn't realize that he wasn't really an offensive player much until I've watched the Wolves the last like couple of seasons. I had no idea. I thought he was, a 25, 14 point kind of on average kind of dude. But I mean, I just didn't realize his offensive presence doesn't really matter outside of just a big body being down there, blocking out for people and such. But um, I don't know. I mean, part of me with Cat. And I think Chuck was right, like, or has a point, is that you're that big, like, can you not back someone down? Use yourself down in the paint and stuff like that, and stop shooting as many threes. I mean, I know as a big man, and to be able to have the his smoothness, man, and making those shots, it's like that's awesome that he can do it. But I feel like sometimes it's like, man, if you're not hitting them, like get in the paint, see if you can get some buckets the easy way because of your size. And so. Um, I don't know. I think that sometimes maybe it hurts the Wolves, but again, I'm, I don't know. You know, that's why I'm a dude on the couch talking to you. So,
Well, no, I mean, it's like he uses his size when he drives to the hole, but he's like always out of control. And then he shoots like a off balance jumper, and he's got a great touch. But, like, yeah, put that ass on the block and back down, and you got all the skills, and then
and
you can
finish
you can step out to the 3-point line, pull your guy out, and that opens things up, and, like, if you're hitting in the post, they're going to have to double team you, and that's where the
right,
Wolves should use that to their advantage, because they have the size. And I think the supporting cast for the Wolves is better than the Mavericks. But not to say that the Mavericks supporting cast is like chump change. They've played great too, from Gafford and, like you said, Lively. It seems like PJ Washington and Jones hit shots when they're at home in the corner, those corner threes.
right.
But series has been great, and it's been highly emotional for me. As you know, the last time or the only time the T Wolves were in the Western Conference Finals was 20 years ago. Um,
Yep.
yeah, and I was actually in England at that time. Um, so I only got to watch like rugby and cricket. And so I would have to call home, and my roommate was a big Lakers fan, of course, and was telling me about the games and talking shit to me about it. And then I'm like, yeah, I can't really justify anything, man. But it's really cool. I'm excited, like I said, make history. I texted that the other night to you guys after I finished the game. Why not? History's made to be broken. We're going home for game 5. So you never know what could happen. If we could win 5, go into Dallas, because the T-Wolves have been great on the road in the playoffs, with
I was gonna
winning
say
3 times in Denver last series.
that's right. And let's say you get to game 6, I think that's where things start getting a little nerve-wracking for the Mavs, because I mean you don't want it to go 7. It's the last thing you want to do is go to a game 7, because anything can happen, an injury to just a slump to whatever it may be. So I would say though with Cat and company though, at least especially him, like he's got to be careful of those fouls, because that's
Dumb
if the
fouls.
if because if that game could have gone the opposite way last night, and that's what they would have been talking about, was him getting in foul trouble for no reason, dumb fouls, just retaliation, I guess you'd say. But like, I feel like that could be very costly moving forward for them.
Yeah,
I
man,
mean,
he's committing
it almost
fouls at
was
half
last night.
court. Yeah,
Yeah,
25
yeah,
points in 29 minutes. So if he plays, his customary 36, 37, he's got 35, 36 points, and T Wolves probably win that a little more comfortably. But yeah, I just don't get it. And then it's like every play, it's arms up. Hey,
hmm
like
hmm
looking for the foul. I know Anthony Edwards does it too, but so does Luca. Everybody
Man,
does it.
Luca drives me nuts. Man, I love watching Luca play, and I love, but it just the overall complaining of a foul like on every single possession. It's just like golly, it just I don't know. It takes a lot of the fun out of the game. Like, don't really want to sit there and listen to that stuff and things like that. So, or see it just over and over. It's like LeBron and his flopping and trying to draw a foul. It's like I know when you're going in, people want to, they go up for a shot and they're trying to get all the contact. I get all that stuff, but like when you're flopping around, and I don't know, that's that's what I don't know. That's part of the reasons why I've respected a lot of what the officiating's done is like they've let them play for most of these series, at least in what I've seen. It's like they've actually let them play. It's like, yeah, let there be some contact, let there be this and that, but again, once again, it's just not consistent.
Yeah, but
I
you
mean,
just can't
so
commit those stupid fouls. Like,
you
yeah, they
cannot
will
do
probably
that,
give you the benefit of the doubt more in the once you're in the offensive side of the court, But at half court and it's wide open space and it's obviously you fouled him, you can't complain about it.
right?
And then like on the 3-point foul, that when he fouled out, like you jumped into him. Yeah, you landed and standed still, but you were in his like landing zone. So
Right.
if it hadn't have been a personal foul, they would have reviewed it anyways, and that would have been the call. But yeah, he's just too good and we need him on the floor. But hey, my man Big Jelly has been stepping up. Nas Reed has played fantastic. And that's where I'm like sitting there like they should play Cat and Nas Reed together more uh with Conley, McDaniels, and Ant-Man, because Gobert, I like him. He plays hard. He's a good player. I like his grit, talk a little shit here and there, get feisty, but I think the T-Wolves are just you have to compete with the Mavericks in scoring. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So,
Because they had an off night last night. I mean, they didn't shoot the ball very well. They were down a man. Like, I mean, not trying to make excuses, but I think it's something you have to look at is be like, for the Wolves, they have to play even better. And so maybe they're just not ready for Big Jelly. So
I love that guy,
um,
man.
yeah, he's fun to watch,
Undrafted.
man.
Undrafted.
Undrafted.
Unbelievably.
He was he was on the Lakers in the bubble, right?
No, he's been with us since the beginning. We signed him.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh,
Yep.
okay. I thought
And
he
they
was a
gave him a
Laker at
nice
one point.
contract and locked him up for a long time. So T-Wolves front office has done great. Conley, I can't remember his first name, but he was the old Denver Nuggets GM, and we stole him. So he built,
Oh, okay.
their powerhouse. So I guess we're Denver B, so I don't
Denver
know. It's
B.
just I don't know.
I'm
Okay,
gonna, I'm
so
gonna kill your I'm gonna kill your Mexican friend. I'm Cuban, B.
I'm Cuban B.
Yes, Cuban B.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Yeah, I think either way, I think if the miracle could happen with the T-Wolves going, but realistically, it's going to be the Mavericks and Celtics. We'll preview that before, but off the top of your head, who do you think wins and how many games?
If the Mavericks go, I think the Mavericks have a real good shot of beating the Celtics in six. I would. I mean, I just don't trust the Celtics as much as I want them to win one because I don't mind the Celtics at all. Um, it'd be nice to them finally see them finally get over the hump, but uh, they I just don't trust them. Like, I mean, if I was a betting man and had to put money down, I would take the Mavs. There's no way. I'd take the Mavs or the Wolves, like I said, over either one or over them. And I don't know, man. Maybe taking some time off and having some rest will reset them. But I just don't trust the Celtics. So I think the Mavs can beat them if the Mavs advance. I
Yeah, I
also think
think
if the
so.
Wolves happen to come back and make history, then I think they can beat them too. So,
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
if
if they come
they,
back, look, if they
oof,
come back and make history and beat the Mavs, then there's no way in the world that they're gonna. I mean, they all with all that momentum. I mean, come on now, they're gonna be on such a high. Like, I wouldn't. I'd be scared if I were the Celtics at that point.
yep. Plus, that would be beating the champs and then beating, make like you said, making history. Uh, but they wouldn't have as much time off, so they'd be more in rhythm, maybe a little more worn
Hmm.
down, but everybody's worn down. But I don't know. I think I'm with you. But all the pressure is on Boston. Like, it's
All of it.
unbelievable because everybody's like, oh, they're Tatum and Brown, they're still young, but it's like Brown's 8th year, Tatum's 7th. So it's like, and then you add all the playoff games because I think Tatum's like third all time for playoff games by the age of 25, 26. So,
Something like that. Yeah.
yeah. And with Denver out, if we all thought they were the best team, but yeah, you gotta you got to win because I don't think the Eastern Conference will be as easy next year. I think there'll be some changes with big players going to the East.
I
But
100% agree with you. I think there's some big names, some teams are going to come together, and I don't know where and which ones, but I think some names will drop to the East, and I think there are a couple more teams will probably be in the mix more than like say the Magic and others that are just super young and already had a good season. So
mhm.
I don't think it's going to be an easy path the way it's been for the Celtics this year, and I don't know. I mean, they're lucky. They're not necessarily lucky to be there, but the fact they've had injury after injury go at the versus the teams that they're playing. Um, I just kind of feel like they've gotten the easier draw. That's basically it, you know. And so
Yeah,
it's like if you're there, you better take advantage of it because I mean, you came in as the favorite, and you still are. So I just don't trust them. I simply just don't trust them.
yeah, I'm with you.
I
They
think they're
got to get
beatable.
one. So
I think
talented, but I don't know.
they
Someone
should
just
get
has to
one.
take
There's no
over.
doubt.
Yeah, someone. That duo. Kyrie and Luca against Brown and Tatum. Like, how good is that? Like, Boston should, on paper, would be the better team, whether it be the
Right.
Mavs or the T-Wolves. On paper, easily the best team. But like you said, I haven't seen it. Pressure's on them. Got to win now because Tatum is about to sign that super max, so there's going to be some pieces, and they just re-upped with Holiday, gave him a new deal. Probably have to re-sign Derek White, I think. Porzingis was kind of a bargain contract, but it shows when you have those high paid players, it eats away at the rest of your roster, just like in any sport.
It does. It definitely does. So yeah, I kind of feel like the pressures. I mean, the time their window's closing. You know what I mean? It's like it's been open for a few years. They've had ample opportunities, and I mean they got another one now. So it's just kind of like I don't know. Like if they don't win it this year, it's like can you see them getting back to the finals next year? You know, without even knowing like what kind of moves and stuff are going to be made. It's like yeah, maybe, but a healthy Embiid, a healthy Knicks team. Uh, I don't know. I feel like the
Pacers, I
Bucks
mean, the
again
Pacers are
with
going to be
Jan
better.
Pacers would be better. So I mean, you got Giannis coming back too. So I mean,
Yeah.
you
Oh,
got
the
the Heat. You
Magic.
still got the
Magic
Heat in
had
there.
it.
The
Yeah.
Magic.
I mean,
So
we
I
just
think
listed
I don't
8
know.
teams
It's
right there.
exactly, and that's not even the teams that are going to probably do some kind of movement around and probably have another surprise contender in there. So I don't
Yeah.
know. I feel like their door's closing. So it's kind of like, well, it's definitely an all or nothing season. I feel like. I mean, I wouldn't say like blow it up after the season's over. I'm not saying that, but like I think if they don't win one, it's gonna be, it's like you're gonna have to start. They're gonna have to start thinking of something else.
Yeah.
I mean,
So we just talked about the Eastern Conference, but the Western Conference is going to get better. Like,
oh, no doubt.
The T-Wolves are going to be better. Like, it's clear they got to do something in the offseason to get another reliable scorer. So Cat might be on the move. Dallas will be in the mix again.
Yep.
Houston will get better. The Kings will bounce back. OKC is going to be better. Spurs, if
I
they
mean
get
the
Donovan
Spurs. I was
Mitchell.
gonna say, yep. So I mean,
So,
I mean, it's gonna matter a lot on I think a lot of the moves that happen in the off
mhm.
season, and who kind of lands where and such. But it's not going to get any easier. It's not going to get any easier. So I don't know, man. I mean, I have nothing against the Celtics at all. I've always kind of rooted for them in a way,
Agreed.
and you know regardless of the outcome of whoever wins the finals out of the final three teams, I'm completely just fine with. But I feel like they're just kind of in a win. They have to win now. I just don't see him getting back there next year. I just don't.
Yeah, I agree with you. But either way it goes, I think it'll be a good series. And I think it'll go 7. I really
I
think
think
it'll go
six or
7.
seven. I really do. I don't see a sweep happening unless there's a
Can't
major injury.
can't be
If a
another
major
sweep.
injury happens, then okay. But like if there's not a major injury, I don't see it being a sweep. I don't see it
I'm
even being 5 games. I
I
feel like
mean,
it's
like,
6 or 7.
half the series in the playoffs this year have been either sweeps or gentlemen sweeps. So it's rare that we're getting to game 6. Mavericks, they've gone to 6 in the last 2 rounds, but we'll see. It'll be interesting. But T, on a
They
sad
like to make
note, the basketball world, the world in general, lost a pretty iconic guy in Bill Walton, passing away at the age of 71. What are your thoughts on old Deadhead himself?
um I think it's sad. I mean, cancer. You know what I mean? It's a terrible thing. So just you hate to see that or hear it. But I mean, as goofy as the guy was, maybe somewhat annoying sometimes calling a basketball game. I think you have to appreciate him. I mean, he was one of a kind. marched to,
That's for
marched to the
sure.
beat of his own drum. Did not give a crap what anybody else had to say about him, kind of thing. And he's overall was a good person. It seems, at least what his peers and friends are saying, and people have been around him and things like that. So it's a terrible thing. You know, heart goes out to his family for sure. But I mean, he was fun. I mean, he was one of those things like you just didn't necessarily know what he was gonna say or do,
Mm-hmm.
and so it kind of kept you on your toes. Where you're like, oh, where's he leading? Where's he going with this kind of thing? But uh, yeah, I mean, it stinks. I mean, no way around it. Sadness for sure. But
Yeah.
yeah, he was a
That
great
guy
he was
could
a great
talk.
college. He could talk, man. God, he could talk. He'd say some stuff that I mean, I remember watching countless NBA games. I'd be sitting here shaking my head, being like, "What is he talking about?" Like they're talking about dribbling the ball off the court, and you're making some analogy here that just doesn't make any sense. But somehow
I
it
love.
did.
I thought he
So
was fantastic, man. Like I heard Greeny on Get Up the other day talk about how they always would have Bill Walton on for interviews, and they had a segment, an 11-minute segment set aside for interview of Bill, and Bill actually called ahead and told the producer that Greeny and Gullet can go do something for 11 minutes. And the guy literally talked for 11 straight minutes. Like I remember that
wow,
fantastically. But yeah,
wow,
I thought he was perfect for the sport. Like after he was knowledgeable, knew that he was a fantastic player. Like he would have been awesome nowadays in the NBA. He would have been like a DeMontis Sabonis kind of player, I think.
okay, okay,
But he was super talented, like you said, super weird. But once he switched to college basketball, and he did all the West Coast games, um, but he would just, I mean, in college, that's when you're weird, right? And so Bill just fit
yeah,
in and everywhere. I mean, I want to know how many Grateful Dead T-shirts that guy had, because every time it was
yeah.
something with the dead, man.
Something I remember when he called some of those NBA games. Kind of, cause see, when he was doing the NBA games, I knew he stopped doing them, but I wasn't sure why. And then I also didn't know he was calling college games for the longest time until one
Mm-hmm.
popped on. I think on maybe CBS or something one day or something, and I was like, oh, he's calling these. So atrocious. That's what he used to say all the time.
That guy is
Atrocious,
atrocious.
atrocious. But so yeah, I had no idea where and what he was doing, and I honestly didn't know he had cancer.
I
So
didn't either. Yeah.
yeah, I thought I saw that was that yesterday or the day before whenever he passed, and I was just like, whoa, wait, what? So I must have missed something somewhere, but I didn't know that.
Yeah, Ryan, I think, sent an attachment to us saying that he had passed away. Because, Ryan's our Twitter dude. We get all the updates from Twitter.
He's all over the X.
Yeah, man. It's sad. Like, because, like you said, another good guy. I heard when he was a freshman I don't know if he was a fresh. I think he was a freshman going into UCLA, and long hippie hair, and John Wooden's like, you're gonna have to cut your hair, and he was like, well, I can't do that. That's part of my appearance or my well-being. And then um John Wooden looked at him and said, well, we'll sure miss you. And he hopped
Yep,
on his bike and went across campus and got a haircut.
yep, yeah. I saw that little story about that. I don't know what that was on, maybe last night or something, but yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
That was pretty cool, man.
he will be missed. So
He will
uh
be missed.
so one last thought before we wrap it up tonight, and just to let you know, we will have a top 5 next show. Soda.
We are. We're just waiting
So
for
nice and
our
refreshing with the Texas heat, to think about a nice ice cold soda or some pop. Top 5 pops,
pops.
as my Minnesota natives would say. But I don't know
We're
if you
just we
saw.
just want we just want the microphone swallower to be here.
That's right.
So
The loudest guy ever.
See, that does no justice to like that does nothing.
Well, I mean, we struggle to get through an opening, but I don't know if you saw that Major League Baseball announced that all the Negro League stats will now
I
be
did.
counted with Major League Baseball. What do you think?
I did. That's a great thing. I think it's an absolute great thing. And I mean, it's about time. Honestly, it's about. I mean, there's no reason that they were those stats. They're those guys are as much have much of an impact on why Major League Baseball is a thing now as much as anything else. And so um, they need to be recognized, and I'm glad they are. And to see like Babe Ruth not be on on top of the list anymore. It's Josh Gibson, I think was his name, and just it's a cool thing. I mean, it's about time, and
Absolutely.
I think it's awesome. I mean, it sucks because back then they weren't allowed to play in a certain league. I mean, they're out there doing their thing, but they changed the game as much as anybody else did, if not more. And they need to be recognized for that. And I'm glad they have been. And I think it's a cool moment. I mean, stats and numbers are meant to be broken and all those things, right? Everybody always says that, but you're never going to see somebody bat 372. You're never
No,
going to. So,
not
I mean, it
anymore.
took how long someone trying to get to Ty Cobb, and so nah, this is not going to happen. Not anymore. Exactly, not anymore. Especially when someone sits there and says that this guy's having an awesome year and they're batting 238. It's like 238. It's 100 and what 50 points below or 40 points below where like the all-time record is. So that's just ridiculous. So, but I am very happy that they are being acknowledged, and I think it's a very, very smart and good move.
Yeah,
So,
I would love to see those teams play back in the day, and if they could have
man, it'd been
just
so cool.
dude, if they could have just integrated both leagues, like imagine how good baseball would have been, because it was pretty good back then. But
It's pretty good.
you, I mean, with those two leagues together, it would have been fantastic. But yeah, that's really cool to hear. And the show MLB, the show that you could actually do the play in the Negro League. So that's like really cool to do. So I mean, there's some
Yeah,
really,
which I thought
really
was really
good
neat
players.
too.
You're speeding up baseball and recognizing what you should. But well, with that T, I'm still stoked that you knew about the cheese wheel. I think that's so cool.
Woohoo!
Yeah. But you know what? We're gonna call it a quit. I don't know all that social media stuff that Ryan does. But check us out next time. T, my man, it's been fun. This has been the Real Tree Shaker Show. Peace.
Peace.